Hi everyone, it's Connor here from Durham Hearing Specialists. I hope you're doing well and welcome to another very interesting case. We've not only got some trauma and swelling to the ear canal, but we've also got some dead skin shoved right up against the eardrum. Now the dead skin isn't a problem at all. It's fairly soft, as you can see. It's coming away with suction quite nicely. But I thought this would be a very interesting case because the swelling and the trauma isn't immediately obvious in this case, and it's only when we start removing the debris that we can actually see the full extent of the trauma. So you can just about see on the right hand side of the ear canal, see how it looks a little purpley, a little red. At first I thought, oh, it's just a scratch, and the patient did say that he had scratched his ear with his fingernail, which is probably why the debris is so deep. So he's gone in with his finger, given it a good scratch, and caused a little bit of trauma, so laceration of the skin, some bleeding underneath the skin as well, which is called hematoma or bruising. So not a big deal, whatever, But what's interesting about this is that, as we look at the ear canal here, it looks like a fairly normal architecture, right? But as we remove the debris, we can actually see the extent of the swelling. So you can just about see here how now it's kind of purpley. And if it's purpley, kind of red purpley, that means that it's a fairly recent injury, right? Because if it was older, then the bruise would, as we discussed in other videos, as the bruise gets older, it changes color. It goes sort of greeny tinge and then yellowy tinge as those red blood cells are broken down into biliverdin and bilirubin, which gives the bruise its yellow color. So it's a fairly fresh injury. Now, just to the left-hand side, watch when I start removing this debris here. So I'm expecting ear canal to be immediately under this debris, but look how deep the ear canal goes. So the floor of the ear canal is a lot lower than what I was expecting. And now you can actually see that the right-hand side of the ear canal is kind of bulging out. So it looks a lot more swollen than what we first thought. And, the swelling, or edema, as it's otherwise known, will be due either to, well, probably both. It's due to the tissue damage of him scratching his ear canal, which has caused the swelling, and probably there was undoubtedly some bacteria on or underneath the fingernail, which has found its way into the tissue. And that's caused an inflammatory response. Now, we've discussed inflammation in other videos, but just briefly to kind of give you the gist of the situation, when your tissue is damaged, so when the guy's gone in and scraped his ear canal with his fingernail, two things will have happened. So the resident white blood cells, and there are white blood cells stationed all over your body in tissues, so some people call them sentinel cells, but these white blood cells are very good at recognizing bacteria or microbes like foreign invaders and damage. So foreign invaders like bacteria, if a resident white blood cell comes across a bacteria, then it will recognize that it's a foreign invader by just recognizing the surface, the cell membrane of the bacteria. And it does that by things called PAMPS, or pathogen-associated molecular patterns. So the best way to think about this is like lock and key. So there are locks and keys all over your body to do different things, right? Well, the PAMP, or the special molecule on the surface of a bacteria, is like the key, and it fits into the lock or the receptor of the white blood cell. And when those two things come together, the white blood cell will recognize that this is not normal tissue, this is a foreign invader, it's a bacteria, it's recognized the PAMP, and it will release chemicals. So if it's a mast cell, for example, which is a special type of white blood cell, it will release histamine. And then histamine will cause vasodilation. So it will cause the blood vessels in his ear canal to dilate, and that will cause redness, heat, and also swelling, because when you have vasodilation, your blood vessels become more leaky, allowing fluid out and into the tissue, which causes swelling. So just tidying up here. And again, you can very clearly see the damage here. And when it comes to damage, again, the actual physical damage to the tissue, white blood cells can also recognize that, but they're called DAMPS, so damage-associated molecular patterns. So if you think about damaged cells, okay, like fragments of damaged cells, white blood cells can also recognize those bits and pieces as well, but they're called DAMPS. Same process, the cells will release chemicals to trigger the inflammation. So there's the little bits of debris there, not much, but again, when it's covering the eardrum, it can cause quite a significant hearing loss. So there we go. I thought that was quite an interesting case. Again, very, very easy to resolve, but again, it was sort of a, we had to sort of uncover the architecture of the ear canal. It wasn't immediately obvious. So there we go. I hope you found that video interesting. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below and I will try my very best to get back to you. And of course, I will see you on the next video.